There is something strangely humbling about holding a handful of soil. Not because it is rare, not because it is expensive, but because beneath that quiet layer of dust lies the memory of civilizations, forests, volcanoes, oceans, bones, empires, and billions of years of silence. A few nights ago, after rain had washed the streets clean, I was walking home under a dim orange streetlight. The city was unusually quiet. Cars hissed softly across wet roads. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled like an ancient drum echoing beneath the sky. And for no particular reason, I looked down, at the ground, at the earth beneath my shoes, and suddenly a strange thought entered my mind. Why do so many words begin with geo? Geography, geology, geometry, geothermal, geopolitics. One tiny sound. Geo, earth. And somehow, in the single root, humanity buried entire worlds. The word itself comes from Greek, geo, earth. Not merely dirt, not merely land, but the ground beneath existence itself. The ancient Greeks looked at mountains, coastlines, deserts, earthquakes, rivers, stars, storms, and asked questions that still haunt humanity today. Where are we? What is this world? Why does this earth move beneath us? And perhaps most importantly, how small are we upon it? The curiosity became geography. Geography, the writings of the earth. Geography, to write the earth. And suddenly, maps were no longer just maps, they became stories. Imagine ancient sailors standing beside the Mediterranean Sea under cold moonlight. No GPS, no satellites, no glowing screens in their pockets. Only stars, wind, memory, and rough hand drawn geography scratched onto fading parchment. Every coastline was uncertainty, every ocean carried myth. Beyond one horizon, there were sea monsters, beyond another, entire civilizations. And yet, humans kept moving because the earth kept calling them forward. Geo, earth. Even now, thousands of years later, we still carry the ancient instinct. We open Google Maps in traffic without realizing we are participating in one of humanity's oldest obsessions, finding ourselves upon the earth. Geography survived empires and then came geology, perhaps one of the most poetic sciences humanity ever created. Because geology is the study of time discussed as stone. A geologist can stand before a cliff and read millions of years the way we read paragraphs in a book. Layers of rock became memory. Volcanoes became history. Fossils became whispers. And suddenly the earth no longer feels still. It feels alive, breathing slowly beneath us. A few years ago, I remember watching lava flow across a documentary screen late at night. Rivers of fire moving through darkness, entire landscapes reshaped in silence. Igneous rock cooling under moonlight, mountains being born, and I remember thinking something almost terrifying. The earth is not stable. It only appears stable because human lives are short. Geo is not calm. Geo is movement. Earthquakes, continents drifting, glaciers carving valleys, tectonic plates grinding beneath oceans while billions of people sleep peacefully above them. Even now, beneath your feet, the planet is moving silently, constantly. And yet, tomorrow morning, someone will casually say, I have a geography exam, as if the earth itself can fit inside a classroom. There's something funny about humans that way. We compress cosmic things into ordinary conversations. A child studying geometry may never realize they are speaking another descendant of geometry, the measurement of Earth. Originally, geometry was practical. Ancient civilizations needed to measure land after river flooded fields. Farmers needed boundaries. Builders needed angles. Architects needed precision. But over centuries, geometry became something more, a bridge between earth and imagination. Triangles became cathedrals, circles became observatories, patterns became sacred. Even the pyramids whispered geometry into the sky. And suddenly, math is no longer cold. It became artistic, almost spiritual. Because somewhere between lines and angles, human discovered order hidden inside chaos. Geo, earth, metric, measurement. To measure the earth is in some strange way to measure ourselves. And perhaps that is why astronauts feel emotional when looking back at Earth from space. That famous photograph, the blue marble, one glowing sphere floating in darkness, no borders visible, no politics visible, no religions visible, only Earth, Geo, home. There is another word hiding inside modern headlines almost every day. It's geopolitics, a heavy word, a dangerous word. But if you break it apart slowly, it reveals something ancient. Geo, earth, politics, power upon land. Wars have always been shaped by geography. Mountains protect nations, rivers create civilizations, deserts isolate empires, oceans create trade. Even history bends around the shape of the earth. Entire human destinies changed because of coastlines, because of mountains, because of where rivers flowed. Geo quietly controls civilizations while humans pretend they are in control. And then there is geothermal energy, one of my favorite geo word because it feels almost mythological. Deep beneath the earth's crust, unimaginable heat burns continuously. Ancient fire hidden beneath stone, and modern humans drill into the planet to harness that invisible power. Geothermal, earth heat. Even now, beneath cities filled with neon lights and coffee shops and scrolling smartphones, the ancient furnace of the earth still burns quietly, patiently. Sometimes I think modern life tricks us into forgetting where we are. We live surrounded by glass towers, digital screens, notifications, artificial lights. But beneath every skyscraper, earth waits. Ancient, silence, immense. Subway train rattles underground through geological layers older than civilization itself. People scroll social media while sitting above rock formations formed before human language existed. The thought alone feels cinematic, almost absurd, and maybe that is why natural disasters affect us so deeply. Earthquakes, landslides, volcanoes. Moments when Geo reminds humanity the planet is not merely scenery, it is power. Ancient cultures understood this instinctively. The Greeks imagined Gaia, the earth mother, not just land, a living force, a divine presence. And honestly, sometimes modern science cycle back towards ancient poetry. Because the deeper we study the earth, the more interconnected everything becomes. Atmosphere, ocean currents, forests, climatic systems, glaciers, deserts, one living system, one breathing planet, Geo, Earth. There is also something deeply emotional about the word geode, a plain rock on the outside, but inside, crystals. Hidden galaxies trapped in stone, and maybe humans are geodes too. Ordinary surfaces carrying hidden universes inside them. That is the strange magic of roots. You begin with vocabulary, and suddenly you arrive at philosophy. A few months ago, I overheard someone say, I hate geography, and I almost laughed. Because geography is not memorizing capitals, it is the story of why civilizations exist where they do. Why Newark became New Ark. Why deserts shape cultures differently from islands. Why rivers became sacred. Geography is human destiny written across the earth. And then there is geosmith, One of the most beautiful scientific words most people have never heard. Geosmin is the scent of earth after rain. That smell, that beautiful smell when rain touches dry soil. The smell that makes people pause quietly near windows. The smell of memory itself. Geo, Earth. Even our emotions carry the scent of the planet. By now, the root begins appearing everywhere. Geology, geometry, geography, geothermal, geopolitics, geology, geosmin, different words, different centuries, different civilizations, at all orbiting the same ancient idea, Earth. And perhaps that is why language truly is not vocabulary, but archaeology. Words are fossils, tiny linguistic fossils carrying forgotten human wonder across thousands of years. Somewhere in ancient Greece, a human being looked down at the earth beneath their feet and whispered, Geo. Centuries later, satellites orbit the planet, astronauts photograph continents, scientists map tectonic plates, children study geography in fluorescent classrooms, architects use geometry to shape skylines, and through all of it, the same root survives Geo. Earth. One small sound carrying mountains, civilizations, volcanoes, cities, deserts, politics, mathematics, memory, rain, and human curiosity together through time. Sometimes I think language behave exactly like the planet itself. Layers forming slowly, pressure creating meaning. Ancient fragments buried beneath modern speech, and every conversation became geological in its own way. Every word carrying sediment from older civilizations. Maybe that is why certain words feel heavy. They are. They carry centuries inside them. Gia is one of those words. A root buried so deeply inside human thought that we no longer notice it beneath our sentences. Yet it remains there, quietly supporting entire worlds of meaning, like the earth beneath our feet, silent, ancient, endlessly carrying us forward. And perhaps the strangest part of all this is that humanity has spent thousands of years trying to escape Earth while carrying it inside our language the entire time. Think about it. A rocket launches into darkness, metal shakes violently, flames erupt beneath engines, astronauts rise through clouds towards the silence of space. And yet, what do we call the study of our own planet from orbit? It's geoscience. Even when humans leave Earth, geo follows them. There is something deeply poetic about that because no matter how far we travel into cosmos, Earth remains the reference point for memory. Mars is fascinating because it resembles ancient Earth. Exoplanet excites us because we wonder if they are Earth-like. Science fiction films show astronauts searching endlessly for habitable ground. Not luxury, not technology, ground. Geo. Earth is not just a planet, it is emotional gravity. And maybe that is why space movies feel surprisingly human. Interstellar was not really about galaxies, it was about home. It was about home. Even astronauts floating above continents often describe an overwhelming feeling when they look back through spacecraft windows. The oceans glowing blue, lightning storms flickering inside clouds, city lights shimmering at nights like neural networks spread across darkness. One fragile spare suspended in black silence. Carl Sagan once called Earth a blue dot. A pale blue dot. And somehow that phrase feels less scientific than poetic. Because the moment humans look back at Earth from space, geography became emotion. Geo stopped merely being land, it became belonging. And then there is geocentrism, an ancient belief that Earth sat at the center of universe. For centuries, humans genuinely believed the stars revolved around us, the sun moved around us, the cosmos existed around us. Earth was central, Geo was everything. And honestly, There is something beautifully human about that mistake. Not ignorance, longing. Humans wanted significance. They wanted the universe to feel personal. The astronomy shattered that illusion. Galaxies expanded infinitely. Stars became countless. The universe became terrifyingly large. Yet somehow, Earth became more precious afterward. Not less, because rarity creates value. A single living planet drifting through unimaginable emptiness suddenly felt miraculous. Geo transformed from center of the universe to miracle inside the universe. And perhaps language evolved emotionally alongside that realization. Listen carefully to how people speak during environmental crisis. The earth is hurting, the planet is warming, nature is fighting back. Humans speak about earth almost like a living relative. And maybe subconsciously we still remember Gaia, the ancient earth mother. Science changes vocabulary, but emotions survive civilizations. There is another geo word hiding quietly inside modern technology: geotagging. People casually geotag photographs online every day without realizing they are participating in one of humanity's oldest desires: to place memory upon the earth. A photograph of coffee in Tokyo, a sunset in Santorini, rain in Hyderabad, a mountain trail in Peru, pinned onto maps, attached to geography. Humans have always wanted memories to belong somewhere physically. Even ancient ruins are essentially emotional geotags left by lost civilizations. We were here. That is what monuments really say. And perhaps podcasts are emotional geotags too. Voices pinned onto memories, moments in time. There is also geomancy, an ancient mystical practice attempting to read patterns from the earth itself: sand, stone, soil. Ancient people searching for meaning beneath their feet, and honestly, modern humans are not entirely different. Today, we analyze seismic data, climatic patterns, satellite imagery, different tools, same instinct. We still believe the earth is trying to tell us something. Geo continues whispering through signs, sometimes violently. An earthquake strikes suddenly in the middle of the night. Buildings tremble, windows shake, dogs bark before humans even understand what is happening. And for a brief, terrifying moment, humanity remembers a forgotten truth. The ground beneath us is not permanent. That realization changes people emotionally, because stability is one of humanity's deepest illusions. Geo creates life, Geo destroys life. Volcanoes erase cities. Volcanoes, Volcanic soils later becomes fertile farmland. Death feeding rebirth. Even the earth behaves cyclically, and language reflects that rhythm. Words erode, meaning shifts, civilizations disappear, roots survive. Geo survived empires. Imagine ancient Greek voices dissolving into history while their root words and quietly continue traveling through human speech like seeds carried by wind. Children saying geometry in modern classrooms, scientists discussing geology in laboratories, news anchors debating geopolitics on television, travelers opening geography apps on glowing phones. Without realizing it, humanity keeps resurrecting ancient sounds again and again and again. Sometimes I wonder how many forgotten humans still echo invisibility inside our daily vocabulary. How many unarmed teachers, sailors, philosophers, architects, map makers, all still alive somehow through language. Geo is one of those echoes, a linguistic fossil still breathing, and maybe that is why certain landscapes affect us emotionally before we even understand them intellectually. Standing beside the ocean, walking through mountains, watching deserts stretch endlessly beneath the sunlight. Something ancient wakes inside us, because humans are terrestrial creatures trying desperately to understand the ground that created them. Geo is older than civilization, older than history, older than mythology. Before language existed, earth already waited beneath human footsteps. Rain already fell onto stone. Volcanoes already shaped continents. Rivers already carved valleys. Geo came first, and everything else followed. Even now, beneath every city on earth, ancient geological memory sleeps silently below concrete. Subways roar above buried fossils. Traffic lights flicker above tectonic plates. Skyscrapers cast shadows onto rock older than human imagination. Modern life is thin, earth is deep. The contrast feels strangely beautiful to me because it reminds us that humanity is not separated from nature. We are temporarily patterns appearing briefly upon it. And language records that relationship. Geography, geometry, geology, geothermal, geocentrism, geosmin, geoday, geopolitics. Each word another doorway into humanity's relationship with Earth, not just intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, existentially. And perhaps that is why root words matter, because they reveal hidden connections between ideas we usually retreat separately. Science and poetry, maps and memory, stone and civilization, rain and emotion. Language quietly stitches everything together beneath the surface. The same way tectonic plates connect continents beneath oceans, invisible structures shaping visible worlds. Geo, Earth. One small ancient road carrying mountains, mathematics, politics, volcanoes, rainstorms, cities, myths, astronauts, memory, and human longing across thousands of years of speech. And somewhere tonight, after rain falls onto dry soil, someone will pause beside an open window and breathe deeply without knowing they are inhaling geosmin, the scent of Earth itself. A tiny invisible reminder that long before humanity built cities or invented language, the planet was already telling its story. And so, after traveling through ancient Greece, volcanic mountains, trembling tectonic plates, glowing city maps, astronauts staring back at Earth from orbit, and the quiet scent of rain touching dry soil, we arrive back where we began, at the ground beneath our feet. Geo, Earth, one ancient root that quietly shaped entire worlds of meaning. From geography, where humans try to understand the shape of the world, to geology, where stones became history books written across millions of years. From geometry, where civilizations measured land unknowingly, created the language of architecture, symmetry, and beauty, to geothermal energy, where ancient fire beneath the planet still burns silently beneath modern cities. We wandered through geopolitics, where mountains, rivers, oceans, and boundaries and borders continue shaping human destiny. We touched geodes, ordinary stones, hiding secret galaxies of crystals inside them. We breathed in geosmin, the beautiful scent of earth after rain, a smell so ancient and emotional that it feels connected directly to the memory itself. And somewhere along the journey, geo stopped feeling like vocabulary. It becomes something larger, a reminder that language is not random. Words are living fossils. Every root word carries echoes of forgotten civilizations, ancient thinkers, wandering sailors, mathematicians, astronomers, architects, and storytellers whose voices still survive invisibly inside modern speech. Even now, every time someone opens a map application, studies geography, discusses geopolitics, solves geometry problems, or watches a volcanic eruption documentary, they unknowingly continue a conversation humanity began thousands of years ago. That is the strange beauty of language. It allows ancient worlds to survive inside ordinary moments. And perhaps the most beautiful realization of all is this: human beings spend their lives searching for meaning across the stars, across oceans, across technology, across history. Yet, beneath every journey lies the same silent companion, Earth, Geo. The ground that carried every civilization, every war, every dream, every myth, every city, every poem, every story, and every human life that has ever existed. And maybe that is why certain words feel heavier than others. Because some words do not merely describe the world. Some words carry the weight of the world itself. Maybe that is why language has always been not merely communication, but memory. A vast invisible memory system carried from one generation to another. Surviving wars, floods, collapsing empires, burning libraries, and changing religions, and shifting boundaries. Somewhere in ancient Greece, a human voice once whispered Geo beneath an open sky. Perhaps they were standing near the sea, perhaps just more softly through olive trees nearby. Perhaps they were simply trying to understand the world beneath their feet. They could never have imagined that thousands of years later, satellites would orbit the planet, children would study geography beneath fluorescent classroom lights, scientists would scan geological layers with lasers, and strangers across the internet would still repeat the same ancient sound, geo. A small root surviving longer than kingdoms. And maybe that realization changes the way we hear words forever. Because once you begin noticing roots, language stops feeling flat. Suddenly, words gain depth. History appears beneath conversation. Civilizations echo beneath syllables. A simple sentence becomes layered with invisible ancestry. Even now, while listening to this, the ground beneath you is moving silently through space at unimaginable speed. The earth spins, continents drift, oceans rise and fall. Rain slowly reshapes mountain grain by grain. And humanity continues speaking upon this moving planet as though everything is still. There is something profoundly beautiful about that. Tiny human voices floating across an ancient restless world. Geo reminds us that stability is temporary. Civilizations ride beside rivers and disappear into sand. Borders shift, languages evolve, cities crumble, forests return. Yet somehow roots survive. Geo survives. And perhaps that is why learning root words feels strangely emotional sometimes, because it reveals continuity, a hidden thread connecting ancient humanity to modern consciousness. The same curiosity that once made sailors map coastlines now makes astronauts photograph Earth from orbit. Geo, a reminder that long before humanity touched the stars, we first learned to walk upon the earth. So, Geo, one planetary breathing system, alive with motion, alive with consequence, alive with memory. Sometimes I think mountains are Earth's way of resembling treasure. That's all for today. Thanks for listening in.